Hello and welcome back to, well, the end of Computex 2025. Throughout the course of the videos that I've done while I've been over here in Taipei, going through all the different solutions that we talked about, there's been some odds and sods, little bits that I couldn't really put into their own standalone video, but nonetheless stood out amongst a bunch of other stuff here in terms of storage, in terms of networking. And that's really what this video is about. It's all the odds and sods and small things that I saw from different brands that really stood out to me for good and some for bad. So, without further ado, let's crack on to those highlights. Circling back here to Synology here at Computex, is worth highlighting something that I kind of missed the first time around, and that is Synology switches. That's right. Something that a lot of users have always wondered about, with Synology trying to create a large, more encompassing ecosystem for their hardware. Some users have wondered, would Synology ever engage with switches? Now, I've got good news and bad. One, this is a selection of Synology switches. However, two of these switches are only for surveillance station. These two at the back here, this one here is a 26-port switch. This one over here is a 10-port switch, taking advantage of PoE and PoE++ across multiple ports, as well as a couple of 10 gig fiber SFP Plus ports here on the side. Now the other one is an 8-port PoE switch combined with two more SFP ports there, and these are ones that are managed by surveillance station. Now, there isn't any inclusive camera licenses or anything like that. They are dedicated for surveillance station only, with Synology's own larger encompassing growing brand of cameras alongside on-viv cameras as well, as long as they support PoE. Now, for the rest of us, this is as close as we're going to get at the moment. This is a 5-port PoE switch. 4 of the ports are PoE, it's unmanaged. This is the PS500. So again, this is really kind of a perfunctory entry-level switch, and probably not what a number of us were hoping for when it came to Synology in the world of switches, but at the very least, for those that are dedicated towards a surveillance deployment, that we're going to go dedicated with surveillance station, perhaps with a DVA or a disk stationary solution, at the very least know that they can keep within a single ecosystem with a Synology switch as well. And for those of you that messaged me about what exactly is going on with UGREEN here at Computex, although the majority of the DXP series is on display for users, I know not a lot of the people that subscribe to this channel do so because they want to know about these. These are the new IDX 6011 and the 6011 Pro. These are that Intel Ultra Core, the 125H CPU there, Edge AI assisted services built in. These have got 10 GBE. We've talked about them already on the channel. I could go on for ages, but what we really need to talk about is when are they going to come? Because a lot of you have been wondering. Now, I've asked the people here on the stand, and they're saying that this system is targeted for Q4 2025. It's going to be launching on crowdfunding, just like the previous units, which I know isn't going to be for everyone, but that gives them a little bit more time, I imagine, to work on those AI services, because although this is technically the third time I've spoken about the 6011 series from UGREEN arriving eventually, a lot of users are starting to get a little bit impatient about it. And the main thing they've got impatient about is the utilization of the AI services. We're still yet to see what exactly UGREEN are going to be doing with AI services on their systems. So although we have everything from AI chat to be able to ask and interact with the system live, on top of that we've got the semantic search and organic native searching with the keywords there, image recognition, we're kind of ready for their deduplication on an image and multimedia level. I think the thing that interests me the most is the custom learning, because this is something I think a lot of users looking at Edge AI on a local NAS appliance without using your kind of remote access LLM services are kind of interested in creating their own very bespoke AI services there. Now again, we've still yet to see just what you're going to do integrating this into UGS, because you know, Q4 seems like a long way away, but they've still yet to show this implemented within their software. So although I am still very interested and excited on these new 6011 series devices, we're still yet to see anything formative right now. Next up, we're at OWC here with their Thunderbolt 5 docking station. Now, we already knew about the hub device, but this here is their first proper, bona fide, well pedigree docking station. Taking advantage of Thunderbolt 5. This device, again, 11 ports scattered all the way around it. Some of them you will expect the SD card slot there, 2 different variations of the SD. You've got USB 10 gig, of course. Network connectivity has been scaled up from 1 gig in the predecessor to 2.5. We'll return to that in just a moment. But alongside that, you've got a couple more USB Type-C Thunderbolt ports there. So you've got 1 upstream, 2 downstream there to take advantage of that large connectivity for displays, of course. Thunderbolt 5 takes advantage of an 80 gigabits per second transmission speed of data, but it's technically 120 to take advantage of the visual output there up to 8K. Now, this device here does have an external PSU there. Now, much like we've seen with other OWC docking stations, this is the first entry into a growing family of devices. So for example, when we look at the Thunderbolt 4 series, we see things like the OWC Pro Dock. Now this takes advantage of the Thunderbolt, and again, this is now a year and a half old at this point, but takes advantage of 10 gigabit Ethernet. Also, they start absorbing a lot of the PSUs inside the system. The point I'm making is that this system may not be perfect right now when you compare against Thunderbolt 4 options, but it's the gateway and it's going to expand into more devices. For example, when it comes to a lot of Thunderbolt 4 technology from OWC right now, one of the things that we sort of lightly talked on last year was something like this, the Thunderblade X12. Now the X12 is a 12 times NVMe RAID-enabled system that takes advantage again of that potential 80 gigabits per second data transmission via Thunderbolt 5 there. Now, yes, that is theoretically still a bottleneck when you're looking at 12 times NVMe SSDs there, but as you can see, it is all about the cooling. And as portable as hell as this is, it has to be said that right now, if I was looking at storage options, there's still a variety of other storage options in the market from OWC, either that arrive with storage or give you the ability to scale out your existing storage there. But moving on. Next up, I want to talk about the Pegasus5 M8. This is their 8-bay flash solution, taking advantage of Thunderbolt 5. It's got 1 up, 2 downstream connectors there on the rear, and it allows you to achieve much greater speeds. As you can see from the speed test that was happening on screen, that was hitting well over 6,000 megabytes per second read there. Hitting 4.8 in the live testing happening here on screen, happening right now. And the system not only takes advantage of modern M.2 NVMe SSD storage, but inside it also has 8 E1S trays. That means you're not just limited to utilizing non-hot swappable 2280 length SSDs. It actually allows for a much more flexible setup. Now, this is actually part of a larger range. As part of the R12 and the R12 Pro, these were originally kind of launched or at least announced towards the end of 2024, but a lot of users have been waiting on the M.2 model as you're able to leverage a lot of that high I/O of modern M.2 NVMe's and then take advantage of the large amount of bandwidth afforded to Thunderbolt 5 there. As mentioned, you've got 1 main connector there for your client system, and you've got 2 additional USB Type-C Thunderbolt 5 connections for connecting other expanders, connecting other daisy chain devices down the line. I won't lie, I've seen a lot of Thunderbolt 5 docking stations here at Computex 2025 here in Taipei. This one from Blackjet, the RX5, is quite similar to the other ones in the market. But that's not what I want to talk about right now. I want to talk about this. This is the UX2. Now this Blackjet product is a docking station with a difference. So number one, coming nice and tight. Firstly, we've got the pull-out modules. Both of these can be utilized with USB 4 there, so that's 40 gigabit connectivity there for each of them. Again, with varying degrees and adopted methods for your card reader going inside. Each one of those going into a 10 gig slot there, so you can use them standalone with a client device or connecting in there. Now, those arrive at around $79 and $99. So where it gets interesting are USB 4 external drives like this that you can use on the go if you're a creator, professional photo video editor or more, and these are feeding into 80 gigabits per second connections there. Now already we've got something of a bottleneck there, of course, 40 gig going into an 80, but it's the idea that these, which have got an M.2 NVMe inside, slide inside there, and now we have got our storage going directly into the system. Now, again, So far, so normal. We're able to take portable drives and inject them into a docking station. However, where the UX2 gets interesting, however, is the fact that it outputs that 80 gigabit connectivity there via USB Type-C Thunderbolt 5. That means via a single connected cable, you've got access to this more modular docking station that allows you to have a more creative, dynamic, on-the-go workflow, which you can then inject into this standards out there. It makes docking stations like the one we mentioned earlier on seem, kind of static and a little bit more limiting. On top of that, like any other docking station, it features other connections as well, featuring not only a couple of 10 gig USB Type-A ports there, but also a visual output there that allows you, thanks to Thunderbolt 5, having 80 gigabits per second to play with for data transfer, an additional 40 gigabits per second for visual output as well. A huge amount of connectivity in a docking station, although fairly large in a 1U similar rack mountable design, is still going to give you a huge amount of connectivity, but also the flexibility of what your hardware can be doing with on-the-go client devices, be they mobile or desktop. But this has been Computex 2025 here in Taipei. We've seen a lot of fun stuff, and I hope you've enjoyed watching these videos with me. But apart from that, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.